Jared and Jacob from Marble City Pharmacy join us this morning on Health Monday. Good morning to you, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Y'all are spry this morning for Mother's Day weekend just passed. It was a beautiful weekend, wasn't it?
Beautiful
was.
weekend. Ready to rock Monday morning.
But y'all had to work though, right?
He had to work. I did.
Okay.
It's
okay.
terrible.
I was busy picking up the food for our Mother's Day thing on Saturday.
I understand. Hey, one of the worst pains someone can have, I have been told, is kidney stones. That's what we're talking about this morning.
Yeah, look, they say that the kidney stone's as bad as it gets. Some of us have experience with them, not Jacob, but at least in his family.
Yeah.
But we get questions about this all the time. And when somebody says they got a kidney stone and they say it hurts, they say it's bad as it
What
gets.
is a kidney stone?
That's a wonderful question because I mean, what is a rock? Well, all right. So basically, in your urinary system, obviously your kidneys, what we're talking about, you can get too high a concentration of minerals and salts, things we have, things that are natural, things that are normal, that are necessary. But if they get in too high a concentration, in other words, too much of that compared to the amount of fluid or water, then they can start to crystallize, stick together, and they form a rock. Anybody that's had one will tell you, when you do finally see them, I mean, they're pointed and jagged, and they look terrifying, even though they're tiny. When you see them,
Wow.
it's brutal.
Comparing pains, how do you know that you've got a kidney stone? I mean, you have a stomach ache or a back ache or something like that. How do you know it's a kidney stone?
Well, you already mentioned the first thing. It's pain.
Yeah.
If you've seen Rocky III, Clubber Lang, pain, right? Okay, that's how you know. The pain is usually in the lower back, on the side, kind of below the ribs, but it can actually radiate to other parts of the lower body. And like we've already mentioned, it's really intense. It happens when the kidney stone is blocking something in the urinary tract, right? So it can be anywhere between the kidney and the bladder. The ureter is in between. And so that pain happens when the kidney stone's moving. It happens when the kidney stone happens to block the ureter, which it certainly can, and the pain is bad. Sometimes people have urine that's a different color, pink or brown or red. Sometimes people have urine that smells really bad. Sometimes people get really nauseated and end up throwing up.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of indications there for you to know that you got one.
Jacob, what causes kidney stones? Is it something I eat or something I drink or what?
Yes and yes and yes. And it would be nice if it were a simple answer. The complicating factor is that there are multiple different types of stones. Now, to you, they feel the same. The symptoms are the same. The look is the same. For you, it's all the same. But, from what causes them, so we know what to do later with them or how to deal with them, they're caused by different things. The most common by far are a type of calcium stone, calcium oxalate. The reason I bring that up, the reason that's so important is we live in an area where there's a whole lot of calcium in the ground. We have a giant quarry that proves that. And it gets in the hard, we have hard water here. There's places with soft water, there's places with hard water. We have very hard water here. You get calcium from your tap water in your drink, these types of things. Of course, you get it from your diet in a number of other places, but places that have really hard water, it's been proven, are much more likely for the general populace to form calcium kidney stones. And so we get a lot of that here. Urinary tract infections can cause stones. People with chronic GI diseases that cause them to have diarrhea and get rid of a lot of fluid all the time, fluid issues, they have stones. People just, genetics can cause certain types of stones. Family and personal history, if you've had one before, you're more likely than the next guy to have another one. Dehydration status, obviously, and the thing we pick on every single week we're here, obesity, high body weight. Maintaining an unhealthy body weight makes you much more likely to develop stones.
Wow. Jared, I see a lot of people that have had kidney stones and they end up in the emergency room.
Oh, sure.
So how are these kidney stones, how do you treat that?
Well, you guys, even if you haven't had them, you probably have friends that had them. And so treatment for kidney stones can be simple as drinking a whole bunch of water, maybe some simple pain relief medicines until you pass the kidney stone. But it can go all the way up to as severe as literally going in there and having to remove them. So there are medications. There's a common medication that we use a lot called Flomax. Basically relaxes the ureter in the hopes that you can pass the kidney stone. You can drink a bunch of water along with that, take simple pain meds in some cases, and get rid of them. But a lot of cases where they can't be passed, you end up with a procedure. There's a procedure that will go in there and kind of break them up through sound waves. But then sometimes you got to go even more severe than that, and there's surgery you literally have to go in there and remove them. I described that to you this morning because I've had a good friend that's had a bunch of them, but it's a little gruesome.
That's breakfast time. We're not going to describe it.
That's right.
So, is it men, women, boys, girls, and whoever it is? How do we prevent it, and that kind of thing?
Well, it's everyone. Fortunately, it's not usually children for whatever reason. We don't see that a lot, which is good. We're not going to gripe about that. But it's not one of those things. We're not going to pick on age this morning.
Well, that's good.
I can't remember
You already hit on obesity.
I
so
can't remember
that's
the last
good.
time we didn't pick on age here, but we're not. It doesn't discriminate between the 18 and the 80. It's all the same. But to prevent them, which is obviously what we'd rather do than have to treat them and deal with them, there are things. What I'll address is things you can do lifestyle-wise to prevent them. And in a minute, we'll let Jared deal with what can I take, what can I do medicine-wise to prevent them? Because again, I'd rather prevent than treat when we're talking about something this miserable. The simple things for me, you, and everybody else to do to prevent our chance of developing kidney stone, the obvious is just drink enough water. Especially if you're a person that work outside, you sweat all the time, you're losing a lot of fluid that way, or if you have a chronic stomach problem, you lose a lot of fluid that way. Just drink enough. Just simply stay hydrated. It sounds so simple, but none of us do a great job of that. Let's be honest, none of us do. So stay hydrated, drink a lot of water. If you have those calcium oxalate stones that are the most common, you can decrease the amount of oxalates that you eat. What in the world did I just say? What's an oxalate, and what do I eat that has oxalates in it? Because who knows what that is? Some things, even healthy foods. I'm not picking on junk food right now. Spinach is really high in oxalates. Sweet potatoes, okra, that thing, Then you mention stuff like rhubarb and beets, and nobody eats those, so who knows?
No.
But spinach, okra, those are healthy things that have high in oxalates. If you have oxalate stones, you need to cut back on that. And now I'm going to pick on the things everybody likes. We live in Alabama. Sweet tea has a ton of oxalates in it. Chocolate has a ton of oxalates in it.
I'm in trouble.
Nuts, peanut. I know half the people I know, their favorite afternoon snack is a handful of peanuts and a big old glass of sweet tea. Oh, okay, those are really high in oxalates. Those are things that if you have these type of stones, you need to cut back on drastically to prevent them from coming again. And you know what? That's not a hard sell to people that have had them. You tell a normal person to stop drinking sweet tea, they get angry. You tell a person who's had a couple of these kidney stones to stop drinking sweet tea, and they'll have less of them, and they will thank you and drink. They will have no questions. And then last is salt intake. Salt's a big factor in these deposits. So cut down your heavy salt diet intake. That's the last one.
Is there over-the-counter medication you can take to prevent this, or what?
There is, but I got a joke for you first.
No.
Do I have to stop eating oxalate tails?
You want to say something, you want me to?
You go ahead.
That was pretty good.
That was terrible.
I'm proud of that.
I
We'll get some
hope
feedback
you got
from the
another
audience.
joke to back that one up.
I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed.
That's all what I got. Okay, over-the-counter medication. Let's
Don't
start.
leave your day job, man.
Yeah, no kidding. I was thinking about being a stand-up comedian. Okay. Before we get to over-the-counter, let me just say, without going into detail, there are some prescription medications that you can take to prevent kidney stones. One of the types of kidney stones, for example, is a kidney stone caused by uric acid. If uric acid sounds familiar to you, that's because uric acid is also what causes gout attacks, right? But believe it or not, some of the same medicines that are used to prevent gout attacks can be used to prevent these certain type of kidney stones if that's the type you have. So not to get into more detail, there are other types of prescription medicines that can be used for prevention. But there is a over-the-counter medicine that can be used. It's actually new to us. We just got it, maybe 2 weeks ago. It's called Stone Stopper. Now, we would hate to turn this into a commercial, but we're going to. So Stone Stopper, it basically changes the acidity of your urine. It's used to prevent the most common type of kidney stones, which would be these calcium oxalate stones. So Stone Stopper, and if you're a person that's had them chronically, if you know that these are the type of stones that you have, then this product would be for you. It'd be something worth looking into for sure.
Jacob, Stone Stopper available today at Marble City Pharmacy.
Available today. It's a daily, it's a multiple time a day capsule. The bottle has a month's worth in it. And it's, I'll just tell you straight, it's about $35 a month. Now, people that have these things chronically usually don't grimace too much at that. $35 a month to not have these anymore, they're usually more than happy to deal with something like that. But it's about $35 a month. It's a month's worth of capsules in the bottle. And and it gets really good results clinically. And people that take it that have these type of stones, report major lifestyle differences in not having to have the chronic fear of, is it going to be at my kid's graduation? It usually happens on vacation, by the way. People go ride a roller coaster somewhere and throw a stone. And so, my wife's had 2 in her life, both on our vacations. And so, it gets the mental factor down of, I'm a ticking time bomb. When's my next stone going to hit me at the least opportune time? It's a mental help as well.
You talked about, we got about 60 seconds left. You talked about symptoms.
Sure.
And that's, you talked about some of it, and it's a little bit graphic, isn't it?
Well, it's a little bit graphic, and it's interesting. Sometimes the first thing is debilitating pain. Sometimes the first thing is having to go to the toilet and throw up. And so it's, they're hard. And people that have them, I haven't had one myself, but people that have it describe it as bad as it gets. So to me, avoiding, making sure, the simplest thing, like Jake said, that we can all do is being hydrated. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear drink more water, but that's one, how many times on this show have we said that?
Yeah, for any number of issues. Yeah.
Drink more water. Let's do what we can to stop them.
And of course, you get your Stone Stopper too at Marble City Farm Center.
Absolutely.
At Marble City
Thank you
Farm
both for
Center.
being with us.
Thank you.
That'll wrap it up for me on Daybreak Live. Appreciate these guys being with us every month here to talk about particular illnesses, and today, kidney stone and kidney stone prevention. Hope to see you again tomorrow morning. Have a great day, everybody.